To show you some epic views of them, hopefully. Oh, no. The giraffe are moving too quickly. But the giraffe are very, very, very close to the sausage tree pride, who are also quite close to these big male lions. There, the sausage tree pride, you can just see a few white dots on the rocky outcrop there. Morning. And I'm not too sure how many of them are there. I think it could just be 2 lioness and 3 sub-adults. The 4th sub-adult went AWOL yesterday afternoon, or evening rather. We're not sure why it dropped off and left the rest of the herd. I really want to try and get some 2 shots. We've got a great opportunity here of the giraffe looking at those lions, because the lions are nicely elevated above them. I think we may have missed that boat. Now, what I'd also like to do is show you where the male lions are in relation to this whole scene that's unfolding here. Oh, no, our timing's off. I'm hoping the young cubs decide to give these giraffes a little bit of a run for their money. Now, these giraffe are in the initial stages of thinking about mating. This male, you can see, is following this female very, very intently, but she's obviously not in season just yet. But he's making sure that as soon as she changes her mind and is ready for a male, he is going to be there. And I've noticed quite a few giraffe at the moment seem to be coming into season. There's lots of males following females around. Hello, Laz. It is wonderful to hear from you, and the reason being is because you're asking whether this is live, and obviously the fact that I'm talking to you now confirms that. Quite ridiculous, isn't it? And it's been a while since I actually got a question of anyone asking whether this was live or not. If I logged on to Safari Live, I would be sure to ask, because it's something that is really quite hard to imagine, that we're sitting here in the middle of the African wilderness, sharing these scenes with you in real time. So welcome to the Safari Live family, Laz. You have decided to join on a good morning. We are getting spoilt with some beautiful scenes. And, oh, quick vulture flying shots. Nice, Dave. Beautiful, look at this. It's cruising. Still not hot enough for it to be floating effortlessly. So you can see it's still having to do a little bit of work. And what's interesting, this is so cool, there's lots of vultures descending onto the scene above these male lions, and this is a false alarm. So I can see about 4 or 5 vultures already perched in the tree there, and obviously one of them saw the male lions and flew in and got the rest thinking that there may be a kill somewhere nearby. The male lions are just below them in the tree, below those trees over there. There we can see one of them and the other 2 now. Oh, did you see that one vulture landed on the back of another one? Come onto the scene, because we can now show you where the males are in relation towards where these 2 lioness and this sub-adult cubs are. Now, I've got no idea if the males know the females are here. I would assume that they do, and I would assume that the females can see the males from where they are. Now, if we're very, very lucky, we may see these males attempt to try and catch a giraffe. I'm not too sure if they consider themselves giraffe hunting experts in any way. They may not be interested at all. But 2 of them are definitely quite hungry. So with a bit of luck, we could see an epic, epic showdown between 2 of the African giants. Hello, Aya. You'd like to know if the prides of lion here have started specializing in hunting certain kinds of prey. And I mean, during the migration, of course, they're going to kill a lot of wildebeest because that is the most common food source. So I think definitely during the migratory months they semi-specialize in hunting wildebeest. But to be honest, I mean, there's just so many of them. There's not much skill involved in being a lion during the migration months. The food literally just runs into you. But you do definitely get lions and prides that will specialize in hunting certain prey. I mean, the lioness within this little pride that we're looking at now, they have killed quite a few buffalo. So, and the fact that there's only 2 of them means I think that it's fair to say that they are specialists, because for 2 lionesses to take down a buffalo is not an easy feat. But I haven't spent enough time with various prides to notice any of them becoming extreme specialists in hunting any one prey species. I guess what we must also remember is that here in the Mara there's a multitude of different prey that's kind of a similar size: zebra, topi, wildebeest, eland. They're all kind of the larger prey species, all which are suited well to lion. I think, was it yesterday, I think, Taylor was answering some questions about, do vultures sometimes get confused between an animal that's sleeping and something that's actually dead? And I guess this morning is a good example that they too sometimes make mistakes, and just the fact that, you know, one vulture saw some lions, thought that, you know, it would be worth coming to investigate if there was a kill there, then the other vultures see, and then it's just a chain reaction, because of course, once one vulture sees another 5 vultures flying in there, even though they don't know what they're flying towards, more and more will keep coming. Although this morning, the chain reaction stopped at about 5 or 6 vultures. So maybe their behavior upon arrival has helped other vultures realize that there's not too much going on. Wonderful. Well, there's a surprisingly not the lions. So they maybe had a busy night and aren't interested in wasting any energy chasing some very tricky prey to subdue. Hi, Becca, you would like to know if vultures ever accumulate enough in numbers to push predators off their kills. I think occasionally smaller predators like lion and leopard may possibly get overrun, and even a single lioness, if she is on a kill, she tries to chase vultures that are building on one side, other vultures can come in and start feeding on the carcass. So it can happen from time to time, but as a general rule, vultures will wait their turn. Hyenas are the main scavenger that can chase animals off their hard-won kills, but vultures not very frequently, I don't think. Well, we've got some wonderful prospects for this evening, having these 3 males nearby. These 2 lionesses, a lot of which are quite hungry. Hello, Kristen. You would like to know if any of the prides spend any time traveling up this escarpment range or live on top of it. And no, occasionally lions may go kind of halfway up, and even occasionally right onto the top. But the reserve ends about halfway up this mountain. I'm not sure exactly where the invisible boundary is, but there's no fence. But wild animals are clever, and they like to spend as little time around us humans as possible. And I guess I should distinguish in that us sitting here in a safari vehicle is one thing. People going about their daily lives, herding cattle, defending their cattle, defending themselves, not trained with how to deal with wild animals, is a very different scenario to us being here. Most of the wild animals kind of completely overlook us when we are in these safari vehicles viewing them, but they do know that if they venture out into areas with surrounding communities, they could well not be well looked after. They can run into trouble. So even the elephants that do go up onto that mountain do it at night time when they know the people are sleeping, and then make their way back down into the reserve during the day. So I think it would be very, very seldom that lions go up onto the hill there. They know what areas are safe and what areas are not safe. And literally just on top of that hill, you find small villages and people existing kind of as they did many years ago. But there's been a lot of developments and evolving of cultures and people in this area. So even though they still farm cattle and livestock, they aren't necessarily waltzing around in their traditional gear as they used to. So there's a transformation in place. Now I wonder what's going to happen here. These giraffe are heading straight towards these lion now. They're all so worked up, and a female that's obviously coming into season. I think there's 1 or 2 males that are harassing her. But she is not having any of it. Hello, Christina. You would like to know if giraffe can fend off lions with their large feet. Yes, they certainly can. A giraffe can deliver an almighty hoof, and on many, many occasions, lions would have been sent tumbling and flying, and possibly even from time to time, lion have been concussed by a giraffe. I'd be highly surprised if that hasn't happened at some point in time. So yes, I think it's fair to say there's many a lion that has a tale about jumping onto a giraffe's back and getting a serious hoof out the way. They've got kind of 2 techniques. Once they are, kind of not cornered, but pinned down, you could say, by lions, they will use both their front legs and their back legs. So their front legs, they kind of lift up and stamp down. They can only kind of keep their front legs straight when doing that action. But their back legs, they can kick out a little bit more effectively and possibly a little bit more accurately. Who knows, maybe we'll be lucky enough to see that happen. I've never really seen lion having a full blow at giraffe. I've only seen clips and heard tales from friends of mine who have been lucky enough to see that. Shame, this poor male giraffe. You can see he is loving the scent of this female and the fact that she is nearly coming into season. He just cannot get enough of it. He keeps licking his lips. But it seems like he's going to have to wait a couple of days, who knows how long, before she possibly gives in to him. Or maybe she won't. Maybe she'll go off in search of a bigger male. He's not the biggest of males. So this may be his kind of first time being seduced by a female. Hello, Brian. You'd like to know why is this one giraffe so much darker than the others? And you do get male, I think it's fair to say that male giraffes are often a darker shade than females. It's not a set rule. And just like us as humans, you get blondes and brunettes and everything else in between. And it is the same with giraffe. But looking at this herd, the females all tend to be lighter than the males. Most of the individuals in this herd are in fact females. It's just one male, and he is a youngster. I wouldn't say he's in his prime just yet. A male in his prime would be kind of towering over a female, where he's a very similar size. If only this other female turned broadside, we'd be able to compare the two females, because even if you compare those two, you'll notice that they too will be slightly different from one another. Sheesh, you wonder how much energy they're going to expend walking around in circles today, these giraffe. Well, good to see that that male at least is persistent. He gets 10 points for persistence, 0 points for closing the deal. But he's putting in some good groundwork, so hopefully that pays off for him. Well, I'm very happy to hear that Tristan has found an antelope that we do not get here, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing when I get back to Djuma in December. Go and enjoy it.
We do, Scotty D, and I'm super happy that we have a sign of life this morning. It's quite nice to see something with a heartbeat that is walking around and showing itself to us. Maybe this is going to be a change of luck when these guys come out and start moving around. But it's a beautiful little Nyala family, so it's a female with all of her offspring by the looks of things. There's a very small one, and then a young male, and then the last of the group bringing up the back is a fairly young female as well. So it seems like they're all together. Now they are going to cross behind me, so I was going to reverse to try and keep them on screen, but given that they are going to cross behind me, I don't want to disturb them and stop them from crossing. So unfortunately, I think we're going to probably have to lose visual of them fairly shortly, which is not ideal. Now, I wonder if we can get that little drongo in shot. I don't want to go too far back, but I can go back just a little bit. There was a drongo that was busy kind of hawking insects right near our nyalas. So there we go, somewhere in that general vicinity. There's a little drongo on top. You see him sitting there. So what he does is he's following these animals around. They're very clever birds, and as they disturb insects, remember they're walking through the grass, and so things like grasshoppers and various other insects are exploding out of that grass, and that means that this little drongo can then come down and grab them before they get away. So very clever, and you'll always find a drongo somewhere close to the animals and following things like nyala and buffalo and all various types of animals around. There we go, there they are, slowly coming out into the gap. Well, they're not the most beautiful things. I love nyala. They've got these stripes and spots, and they just look very, very cool. I feel like they're kind of the models of the bush out here. They have big ears, though. That's the only thing. Is I don't know if they'd be judged on that, but I think they're very cool, and their little ones are so cute. That's a tiny little one. I'd probably say it's probably maybe 3-4 months old, and they have the most incredible fluffy tails, as Lou is just alluding to. So they do have very cool fluffy tails, Lou. I like them as well. The other day I was saying to Noel that it almost looks to me like a sort of back portion of Davy Crockett's hat, and so for some reason I get that. I don't know why. It's just it just does, and especially when it like flicks around, it's got that little tip to it that is quite sort of mobile. It's almost as though there's no bones in the tip to it, and so it does have that. Oh, little one, catch up quickly, and there it goes, running off. Well, that was very pleasant. Always nice to spend some time with some antelope species. I actually quite like doing it. It's something that we don't do that often by spending a fair amount of time with them, and it's always wonderful because they are pretty and they are beautiful and deserve the attention in their own right. Ooh. Becca, I think South Africa has more diversity in terms of the animal species than what Kenya Mara does. I mean, obviously you've got to take in the whole of South Africa and the whole of the Masai Mara and combine, I mean the whole of Kenya and the whole of, South Africa, then it's a little bit of a different thing. I'm not sure then actually which one would be which, but in terms of Masai Mara and Kruger, Greater Kruger, I think the Greater Kruger has more diversity, just in terms of the fact that it has a lot more in plant life and grass species, but also insects and those kind of things, and birds down here are amazing as well. So I don't know, it would be interesting. In terms of mammals, I'm not sure. I think it'll be a tight race between the mammals. They've got things we don't have, we've got things they don't have, and I think it'll be a very, very tight kind of race to see who has the most mammals. But I think we might edge them because we might have more bat species, but I'm not 100% sure actually. It'll be interesting to know. I'm sure there's a list somewhere of the mammal species of Mara and the and that's how I'm just going to have to speak for the rest of the day, because I can't really talk. I don't know why, but maybe I'm sure there's a list of mammal species from Mara and mammal species from the Greater Kruger that you could compare and see how many are in each. But I think we edge them out in the mammal species department by a few. I'm not 100% sure though. It'll be interesting to know. Now earlier I said I would play the call. I forgot completely. I said I'd play the call of the wood owl. Now where is my nifty device that allows me to play such things? Oof, there's too much stuff next to me here that I don't actually even know where everything is. What have I done with it? Is that device now missing? That would be a tragedy if it is. So, morning Glory and a few other viewers, you've requested the barn owl call. Now, oh, there we go. Right, I'm going to employ Pooji for all of this because we don't have any owls around and therefore I'm not going to disturb them. Pooji's feeling quite vibrant this morning. He's got a nice little start-up. Tony's still keeping his teeth. He told me that Halloween, even though it was for Halloween, that he still likes the teeth and he wants them in because it makes him look hardcore. So I've decided to leave him with the teeth. Yes, and don't worry, don't lose his Christmas hat soon, and yes, he will get a Christmas hat soon. He is a very Christmassy Pooji. He likes Christmas, so I think we're going to get him a little tinsel collar and a nice hat, and I'll definitely put a stocking out for him so that he can have a little treat maybe towards the end. Maybe some new batteries or a little polish is what he'll get for Christmas, but don't tell him. We need to kind of make sure. Right, barn owl first, because this is not the prettiest one, so let's play the barn owl. That's not very friendly. As you can hear, that is not a sound that you would want to hear over and over and over and over and over and over again in your house. So not very pleasant, but it does go with Pooji's little fangs. It makes a nice sound for that. Right, now wood owl, which is far more pleasant to the ears. Let's try and find wood owl quickly. It should be here somewhere. There we go. There we go. Such a cool call. I love that call. It's a bit haunting and ghostly, but with Pooji's little teeth, I feel like it works really well. So that wood owl call is one of my favorite owl calls. I absolutely love it. Like I say, it brings back a lot of good memories, and so I always enjoy it. But Pooji, well done. Fine performance. Now, when Pooji finishes, he has a little jingle too. MJ Ruth, you say owls are fast becoming your favorite bird. They are amazing, aren't they? They're just the most wonderful things, and we've been so fortunate by seeing so many, and there's so many little adaptations to them that a lot of the other birds don't have to allow them to do what they do. They just really are very cool birds, and it's because they are, I suppose, are shy and secretive. It makes a little part of it is that there's this kind of element to it that it's difficult to find them. We don't see them that often. I mean, in the case of the barn owl, I don't think we've ever put one on camera before yesterday, and so they are tough to find, but they are beautiful in their own right, and like I say, they are vitally important to this ecosystem. But we're going to turn Pooji off because otherwise Pooji's naughty and starts playing all kinds of things, and so let's rather get him off. He's going to jingle for us. Very dramatic when he turns off. Right, Pooji, well done. You did a good job. Round of applause. There we go. Let's carry on now and see what else we can find. Olga, the owls are staying in different places during the daytime. Some of them are just roosting in the trees, so sitting right up against the bark of a tree and just camouflaging. So especially things like scops owls, pearl-spotted owlets, barred owls, they camouflage incredibly well if they're right up against the tree, and then they just close their eyes and they sit there. Others, like the barn owl that we saw yesterday, was in the hole of a tree, so it's in basically a hollowed out section of a tree that's been made, and they kind of have positioned themselves in there. So it just depends on the area and the individuals, but mostly either holes in trees or some sort of cover, or right up against the tree trunk itself where they camouflage very well. So that's the normal places that you will find owls. A lot of people in the cities build owl boxes. Sorry, there's spider web all over my face. Build owl boxes, and owl boxes, obviously the owls then go in there and spend the time during the day in those areas where it's cooler, it's shady, it's dark, they can sleep in peace and not be hounded. Out here, unfortunately, we don't have owl boxes, and so our poor owls have to deal with drongos and rollers and all the others as they come into this area and cause a little bit of havoc. So they try and camouflage as much as possible and try and find little hideouts as much as they can. So Cheryl, you say thanks for the owl calls. They're cute but creepy at the same time. Well, I feel like the barn owl especially is creepy. It's like something out of a horror movie, particularly with Pooji and his little blood-stained teeth. It does sort of send shivers down the spine. I suppose his smile is a bit of a creepy smile as well on Pooji. But the wood owl, I suppose it is a bit haunting, isn't it? It's a bit ghostly, the way it's kind of a hollow sound and it almost echoes, and I suppose it does have that feel to it. But I like that call. Like I say, I associate it with good things, and it's a wonderful call to hear ringing out through the night. It's very, very cool. I like it anyway. Right, I'm not sure where I'm going to go from here. I'm starting to run out of ideas slightly. Maybe I'll check Mamba, Batalia, those areas where I haven't driven the last 2 days. Maybe I'll get lucky with something there. I'm not very sure. Paula, I was thinking about going to Hyena Den, except that somebody's just been there in the last 10 minutes and it's not active. There's no hyenas at the den itself, and so hence me turning down southwards again. I was going to head in that direction, but unfortunately hyenas are not playing the game either today. I think some of them were seen briefly around where Shadow had her kill yesterday and were milling around that area, so maybe they're just having a little nap out that side and crunching on a few bones, and they'll be back this afternoon. So I think this afternoon might be a good place to head off. I'm not quite sure, we'll see. Maybe I'll check also towards the end of drive. By then it might be active and we might get lucky, we'll see. But for now I'm going to go and just check around. What's the time actually? We can go in maybe half an hour. We'll go and check the den. You never know, things change, a lot can change in half an hour, so maybe that's what we'll go into to try and find our predator for the morning. Kristen, no we don't. So there's a big debate in camp lately, because we do have some people that have been involved in doing daylight saving, but here in South Africa no daylight saving at all. Kenya, I don't think they do daylight saving. Lou, you might know more, but I don't think so. And the reason why, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's because we're close enough to the equator that the changes in time is not huge, and that we don't really need to have daylight saving in place. But so we don't practice it at all. It's when I went to live in London for a while, I completely lost the plot. Well, not lost the plot, but I sort of got very confused by the whole daylight saving thing. I didn't really know how to handle all of this. I don't understand really why one day is different to the next, and it's just literally overnight it's now we save an hour somehow, and so it all confuses me far too much. And I understand the concept of it, but I just didn't understand the implementation of what happens. I thought a gradual process as each day gets longer. We should just, I suppose you can't really do that either. Maybe it's the right system, I don't know. Either way, I'm just not used to it, and so it was a difficult thing to get used to for the first few days. But well, I suppose it works for those countries that have it in place and are sort of knowledgeable about it and know that it does take place. Now, Scotty D, who, well, probably doesn't have to deal with these kind of things very often, is gazing upon a male giraffe who has been put into the friend zone very, very quickly and is still trying his luck as best he can, but seems to be going absolutely nowhere, and I'm sure it is definitely tickling Scott's sense of humor.
Plenty of times. This guy is still trying his absolute best to convince this lady that he is the right man for her. And she's kind of just teasing him. He hasn't actually tried to mount her once, so he's going about it quite delicately, laying a good foundation, not jumping the gun. But it just doesn't seem to be working. They're all now looking off at the 3 male lions, which are about 200 meters away from them. Interestingly, they're slowly making their way down towards them. The lions have been mainly fast asleep with their heads down, but they do keep looking up at the giraffe, and I'd love to know what they are thinking. There is one giraffe that's considerably smaller than the others, and that is the one I am guessing they would go for if in fact they do decide to launch an attack. That's you. You need to be very careful. Now, if lions were clever, which they are not, what would happen is the lioness, which are off to the right, would come in and chase the giraffe down into the male lions, and all 5 of them would work together to pull them down. But they're all just sitting here, doing nothing. Not strategizing, not being clever. People give lions far too much credit for their hunting prowess. They are simply quick with sharp claws and big teeth and a lot of power, and every now and then they manage to trip over something. Shame she's resorting to running away now. I mean, who knows how long this has been going on? Just because we've been here for about 40 minutes watching it, it doesn't mean to say that this hasn't been going on for days. Wonderful, wonderful scenes, though. And I think it's fair to say that I'm happy I'm not this male giraffe. Dave, are you happy you're not this male giraffe? I cannot believe how close these giraffes are heading towards the male lions. Soon we are going to have a 2-shot of them. And surely this is going to entice some kind of something. Come on, male lions. You can see the 3 male lions' heads now. Think of how tasty this would be. Are you waiting for the smallest one? The giraffe definitely know that the lions are here. There's no 2 ways about it, and they're backing themselves clearly. The other 4 giraffe that aren't having to deal with old eager Freddy, who's trying to get with Susan unsuccessfully, they're a little bit more cautious. They are not as loved up and are possibly thinking a little bit more clearly than the other 2 we've just been watching frolicking through the plains. But I'm guessing that these 4 now are going to follow the other 2, the lovebirds, and maybe then we will see some kind of action unfold. Hello, Kristen, you'd like to know if animals ever get so caught up in mating that they forget to eat. And I think to a degree, focus on the mating and feeding will take a backseat. It's definitely the case for predators. They are, for the 3 to 5 days that lions will mate on average, they're not going to be hell-bent on finding a meal. Of course, if something runs into them, they might snack on it. But their primary focus is going to be making love. These guys, though, because they've come down from a night out on the escarpment, where there's a lot more trees for them to feed on, they've been chewing the cud a lot. So for a lot of ruminants, you know, I don't know how much time, I don't know how the time is split up exactly, but you could say they spend half their time picking leaves off of trees, and the other half of their time they ruminating, they re-chewing previously swallowed food so as to better digest it and better break it down. So I guess they can do that now. The one at the back you can see is actually chewing as we speak. So that one's busy chewing the cud. Let's watch closely. We might see the next bolus of cud pop up its neck into its mouth. Watch closely. Ooh, it's going to be tricky on the move. Oh, I thought I saw a bolus going up, but it was its mane blowing in the wind. And it's obviously the wrong side of the neck. There we go. So there's another... What's going on? It was like a little bit of a chew then. Obviously it hasn't taken a mouthful of anything since we've been watching them. Well, the lions are not interested in trying to catch one of these giraffe, which is sad. Hello, proud cat mama. You would like to know how many subspecies of giraffe there are in Africa, and my filing cabinet is in a bit of disarray, but the original thought was that there's 9, and there was some recent studies saying that there's either 1 or 2 more or 1 or 2 less than that. I've forgotten. But we get the Maasai giraffe, which we're looking at now, the Rothschild's giraffe, which are the giraffe that live at Giraffe Manor. A lot of you would have seen Brent's video on Giraffe Manor in Nairobi. Those are very rare and highly endangered. Then you get the reticulated giraffe, so 3 different types of giraffe in Kenya. The southern giraffe in South Africa, that's 4. The Nubian giraffe, I think, is the 5th. And I can't think of the other 4 for the time being. But there's about 9 different subspecies, my favorite of which is the reticulated. They are, in my opinion, by far the most impressive looking of the giraffe. They've got very solid blocks of brown with a very clear white outline, less like the rest of the giraffe who have got more of a puzzle piece effect and more of a slowly diffused brown to white coloration. Okay, well, I think we are going to possibly head off and see what else we can find. These lions have had a great opportunity to do something for us, but no joy. Chuck, you would like to know if we would ever see reticulated giraffe here in the Mara. No, we wouldn't, not unless somebody brought one here for us. You get them in central Kenya, basically from the Laikipia Plateau, further north. Let's just have a quick look at Fred and Susie. Poor old Susie's. Freddie, you'll be okay. Maybe pump the brakes, play a bit of hard to get, and maybe she'll change her mind. You're giving her you're all over her, man. Give her a breather. How was that little kick? She was like, yes. Go and play with your friends for a while. Well, there we go. Now we know just how hard it is to get a girlfriend if you're a giraffe. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Louise. There's no worse stench in the whole of nature rather than that of the stench of desperation. You don't want that stench all over you. Puffy. Well, the good news is These lions seem to have their heads up, so I'm going to try and get you one more view of them before we head off in search of other things, and we are going to be sending you across to Taylor, who is enjoying a road trip through the Mara.
It is quite a cool road trip, isn't it? Coming all the way from the east down towards the west. And we're not quite at the Mara Bridge just yet. Scott, I must say, you impress me with your driving skills, because yesterday when you headed home, you got down here so quickly, and I've just been driving and I've taken the most direct route to try and get down here. So I'm going to have a word with you. You're going to have to tell me your secrets. Did you have like a NOS or something in your car? Perhaps that you've been zooming across the open plains? I don't know how you did it. But we're still bumping for the pride lions that I absolutely love down here. But I haven't had any luck just yet. But they love it in this particular area, so I'm checking very carefully. And then we're heading towards the main road, which is not too far. I don't want to have to drive on that main road for too long. It is so horribly bumpy, like it really is terrible. Now, Joy, you said, speaking of driving, why do some places allow for off-roading and others don't? It just depends on, I suppose, the way that it's run. So, for instance, the Triangle is not run by the Masai Mara National Reserve. It used to be, but not anymore. So they've got a strict policy that there's no off-roading around the river line, which is actually quite good, because that area is very, very sensitive. And also on the Triangle side, there seems to be a lot more sort of forested areas as well. For instance, here's a forested area that I can show you. So you wouldn't want to go off-roading in there. The vegetation's nice and lush. There'll be lots and lots of different animals that will be living in there, from very small insects to birds to leopards, you name it. So it's a relatively sensitive area, and this forest is diminishing at a ridiculous rate, so they're trying to preserve it as much as they can. So even though I know I can drive up to that forest on this side, I won't. I'll keep away from that belt completely, just because as a guide we also have to practice what we preach, and we try to be the best kind of conservationists that we can as well. Other areas, again, it's just the way it's run. In the Sabi sand, especially in the south, they're particularly strict about where you drive. You can't drive over sodic areas. You try and only drive on areas that have got quite a sandy soil. It recovers a lot quicker. You don't off-road when it's been pouring with rain. So there's all these different types of dynamics. So you just got to use your brain a little bit, especially if you know what's right from wrong. Out here though, it's pretty relaxed. Not everybody can off-road though. We're very lucky. We've got special off-roading permits, and in the Askari see though how we try and be as sensitive as we can to the ground, and we don't off-road when we don't need to. I don't, especially if I know that the animal's just 20 meters off the road. That's cool. We can sit on the road and we can view the animal like that. There's sometimes no need. If it's a tricky spot, there's lots of little shrubs and things you need to maneuver a little bit, yeah, then go for it. So it really just it just depends on who's running that particular area and what set of completely different. So even though, oh wow, look at that. That is a tiny, tiny, tiny little giraffe. We're going to stop very quickly and have a look, and then I'm going to cross the bridge. I'm going to go a bit more forward so we can see it. Oh, that is precious. Isn't that beautiful? Standing right up close against Mom. That is tiny. I mean, that must only be a few weeks old. Oh, I wish it would turn around so we could have a little look at it. Wow. We've been lucky with all the little animals, haven't we? That's amazing. I don't know where the lions are. Mom better be very careful. No wonder the little one is standing so close to Mom. Not trying to stand out too much, because that pride of lions would definitely like to take something like this. Now, a question from Louise, who's directing the show today. That's preference. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're wondering, why does it have white hooves? So Louise, its hooves isn't actually white. What you're looking at is just the fetlock and the coronet band. And again, a lot of the animals, when they're born, because of, well, camouflage, they tend to be a lot lighter in color than the adults, so that they blend down in the vegetation a bit better. So that's probably why. As it gets older, its coloration will start to change and will start to look more and more like its mother. If it's a young male, we know that the older it gets, the more testosterone it produces, and it will become almost black in color. There's a little oxpecker as well, just hopping about. So you can't really see the hooves on that little one. Its hooves are so small. But you can see with the adult, though, how it is typically a little bit lighter around the feet anyways. Mom just keeping an eye out. That is so cool. We've been very spoiled today with our sightings. I've enjoyed my time across the river. However, it is time for us to head back home. Oh, let's see. Come on, little one. Follow Mom. It's tiny. Look at its ossicones. Can we look at the little one's little horns on its head, on the youngster? I'm just trying to see. They are still very floppy. Maybe it's only about a week old. I would say, yeah, maybe just shy of a week, even younger. Now that I can see it. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Just look how wrinkly it is. It's still got to grow into all that skin. Now, it takes a bit of time for those ossicones to solidify and actually fuse to the skull. It'll take a few months. Oh, that is precious. It doesn't get much cuter than that, baby animals. And especially when you haven't quite grown into your... Let's got to stretch out a bit. Beautiful. Don't get too far away from Mom, please. I don't want to see you being eaten by lions. I'll be very sad. And there's a big pride of lions around here. Yes, listen to me. I'm wise. I've got more experience than you, little giraffe. So run up to Mom, please. You can still see the umbilical cord is also still there. That's amazing. But now I'm worried because the little one seems to be distracted by us and is getting left behind. Mom's going walking. Come on, catch up. I'm hoping it was going to break into a little bit of a canter. Not going too fast. Must be like walking on stilts when you're as tall as a giraffe. That'd be a little bit difficult. Yeah, so I think she's obviously separated from her herd, although we know with giraffe they don't have a particularly strong sort of social structure, but they, like most animals, they go off, they try and hide away, conceal themselves, not being out in the open to give birth, because then you're a target. And once this one gets a little bit older, she'll probably take it and join up with a herd again. Now, proud cat mama, you're wondering what the gestation period for a giraffe is, and I've completely forgotten. Is it 11 months? I've completely forgotten what the gestation period is. How embarrassing is that? I have to check. Please give me 2 seconds. Question, proud cat mama went no ways. Oh no. It's, yes, 13 to 15 months. There we go. Not 11 months. That's a beefalo. Ah, that's so funny. Oh, I got too excited there. I have to go back and redo my gestation periods again. Sometimes when you don't talk about these things for a long time, the information just gets lost. But it is quite long. Not quite as long as an elephant, though. It's interesting. Time to develop. You're not racing off, are you, little one? You're just taking it easy, one step in front of the other. Oh, that's so precious. I mean, that little giraffe is really only about, well, I suppose it's taller than me. If I were to go and stand next to it, it definitely would be taller than I am. I'm 172, and this would be at about 1.8 meters. Now, Becca, you're wondering if giraffe will defend one another from predators. In a herd, I think everyone's going to run for themselves, but if a lion were to come out now and, say, go charging towards that young giraffe calf, Mom would come back and she would try and chase them off. She'll try her absolute best to defend the calf, and good luck. They can kick. They'll kill a lion quite quickly and quite easily with one blow to the head. And so it is a bit of a risk, and I think lions know that when taking on a prey species like this. But she's stopped now. She's waiting for that little one to catch up again. Okay, but we need to keep going, otherwise we're only going to get back to camp at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I do It's been a long 3 days. Definitely feeling a little bit tired, but that was quite nice. Right. So we're just about to go over the bridge now, and then we'll cross back into the triangle, make sure our permits are all good. I'm going to send you back across to Scott, who's waiting on the other side. Maybe he's waving at me, I'm not sure.
I'm a bit too far away to wave, Taylor, but enjoy your mission back. That was the same route, roughly the same route, that Jahawi and myself took back to camp yesterday. Go though, she's going to be late for breakfast. But sadly these boys have gone to sleep, but let me swivel the vehicle around. There are some animals that they may enjoy trying to consume later this evening. They're quite a way off still. In the general area. There they are. Quite a way off. But those guys need to be careful because there is a chance that either these 3 males or the 2 lionesses that are perched not too far away from here could try and catch them. Let's hope it doesn't happen during the day. They're hidden there somewhere. I did see there's some on the left, and there's one on the right, that one there, and there's a few others on the left, but they're all seeming quite lazy. Others are just behind that little log on the right a little bit. There's a log. Oh, there they are there. So, like I say, good prospects for later on, but I think enough's enough here. We've spent a long time here, and I don't think we're going to get too much goodness, too much or much more goodness from this sighting. So let's go see what else is happening. I'd love to see a secretary. Bye-bye, boys. You rest up, and we will come back later. Best you be ready for a bit more action than you provided us with this morning, please. Hello, Joy. You would like to know what is my birthday wish? Well, earlier on, about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, it would be that these lions would try and catch a giraffe, but that opportunity has come and gone. So, like I just said, I think a secretary bird catching a snake would be very nice to see. Darby, what would you really like to see? I'm happy to spread my wishing capabilities to you. A nice big Ellie bull. Perfect. So there's Dave's wish. I've split my wish credit 50-50 with him. What would be nice for you guys to do, this is a long-term development, is if all of you can think about it first, but what you need to do is think about one of your friends who doesn't know about Safari Live, but after you tell them about it and how wonderful it is, maybe they will start joining. And the reason why I would like all of you to do that is because the more people that join on board these live safaris, the more places we will be able to take you to. It's a very, very simple equation. So the more of you that help get other people on board, the more places we'll be able to take you to, and I could think of nothing better than expanding our horizons further, not only just into Africa, but all over the world. So there is my birthday wish from you. Phone a friend and tell them about Safari Live. Please. Thank you. Very good. You can do that after the show, though. We don't want you losing focus during the show, and we don't want you losing focus while you are back with Tristan.
Well, Scotty D, I feel like you want people to watch the show because you want a few more birthday wishes, which is fine. We'll just send you birthday wishes all day long. And I thought, well, this afternoon, since you want a party hat, or you should be wearing a birthday hat, that maybe we can make it a hat themed drive, and everybody's got to celebrate your birthday with you and all have party hats. So Taylor McCurdy, you're out and about this afternoon, and we know Taylor McCurdy never shies away from having to dress up a little bit, so maybe it should be a hat afternoon. Scotty D's hat party will be on Safari Live this afternoon, and so we're all going to have fancy hats. What we're going to wear, I'm not quite sure, but we'll make a plan. Sens, what should we do? What kind of hat? You're going to design a hat. It's going to be a surprise. So Senzo, we know he's big into fashion. He's now going into fashion design, and he's going to design us hats for our birthday surprise to Scotty. So Scotty, we will send you a photo of us this afternoon once we have got our birthday hats on at the start of drive. Hopefully Taylor Mack will have her hat on, and well, hopefully you will have the best of the best hat for this afternoon. And Noelle will also be out on drive this afternoon, so Noelle is going to have to get her hat out too. And welcome to the team with a party hat. There we go. I think that's how it's going to be. So that's the sort of plan for the afternoon. Louise, are you going to wear a party hat? Are you directing this afternoon, Louise? Because if Louise is directing, then she has to wear a party hat. Who is directing, Louise? Because they must have a party hat. And D2. Ah, Moo. Meggie Moo is directing, and Megs is always into a vibey sort of party mode, and so I'm pretty sure she'll wear a party hat with us. She's always doing fun things. Now the other day I had to laugh because I'm sitting at the table at lunchtime, and it was a fairly warm afternoon, and I'm just kind of chatting to Jerry, and we're talking about, I can't even remember, we were having a fairly serious conversation. Not that that happens very often, but we were talking about something, I can't remember exactly though. But anyway, Megan comes up to me, and she's kind of a bit sort of quiet, and she kind of says, Tris, can I ask you something? And I'm now thinking it's going to be work related, and maybe that she's got a problem that I need to help her with, or whatever the case may be. And then she just, in this typical Megan tone, says, can I make you an ice cream cone? To which I was a bit taken aback, actually. I didn't really know what to say, because I didn't really feel like an ice cream cone, but the way she asked, I couldn't really say no. So my answer was, let's just make ice cream cones for everyone. And so we decided to make ice cream cones for the entire crew, and hopefully they were delicious. And we never got really much feedback. Lou was the one that posted on Facebook that she got an ice cream, but there was no feedback afterwards that they were delicious. Kirst is shouting, Louise is shouting, delicious. Okay, excellent. Yes, Megan did make a very delicious ice cream cone. She did a chocolate vanilla swirl mix with a little piece of chocolate in the top for everybody, and so that was the ice cream cone day. I feel like Megs, maybe we should make that a weekly thing when Megs is around. She's actually going on leave in 2 days for the first time in a while, so poor Megs, I'm sure, is so excited because she's done a long stint for us, and she's worked really hard and had a long kind of directing shift, and so she's going home in 2 days, and I think she's bouncing off the walls at the thought of going on leave after a 3-month work cycle. So I'm sure Megs is going to be very happy to head off, but we will continue the tradition, Megs, don't worry. We will make sure that we'll have ice cream day. What day was it? I can't even remember. Was it Thursday? Was it Ice Cream Thursday? Maybe we'll have to carry on with Ice Cream Thursday. What day of the week are we even on? We're on Sunday, right? So I think it was Thursday or Friday, somewhere there, that we made ice cream cones, and we'll have to just continue that tradition, and particularly maybe even today, given it's party day. So Jerry said every day is ice cream day. Why no? Senzo is shaking his head viciously and saying no. Why, Senz? What's wrong with us? Go and get Stutler. So Stutler is a word for somebody that is slightly larger, and so apparently Senzo says no ice cream for the crew every day, because otherwise we're all going to look like the Michelin man. And so, okay, Senzo, play by your rules. I'm pretty sure that you're going to have to fight with a lot of the girls. Yes, as Louise says, we were not going to spit into Senzo's skillfully designed clothes. I agree. Or his hat. Does your head put on weight? Is that true? I would imagine your cheeks and things do, but does your head put on weight? If you put on weight, does your head get bigger? I'm not sure. Interesting question. Interesting notion. Maybe somebody out there knows. But enough talk about all of these kind of things, and we are driving through the bush and we are looking for animals. I've decided I'm going to drive the new road and up towards the hyena den, and that's going to be where I'm going to finish for the afternoon. So hopefully the new road, which I don't think has been driven this afternoon, I think it was driven this morning. I don't know why I keep referring to today as the afternoon, but I think it was driven yesterday afternoon and not this morning, so we'll just have a little meander on it. It's been a while since I've driven here. Unfortunately, with this area, it hasn't quite greened up yet, so there's not really too much vegetation for some of the animals to feed off, which means that the predators are not hanging around here all that much at the moment, and so hopefully that will all change once we get a bit of rain. But it seems as though today everybody's decided that they're going to go to Little Gowrie for the party. Maybe that's where the Scott party is on Little Gowrie, because talking about all our predators, it seems that all of them are all on there. So Hosanna is there, Shadow and Cub are there. Apparently there's another leopard there, but I couldn't hear exactly which one, but there is another individual that's on Little Gowrie as well. And then there's the Styx Pride, they're also sitting on Little Gowrie. So it just seems like a little predator fest on that side of the world, which is okay. They'll all have to go somewhere tomorrow, and hopefully it will be Djuma. Joy, you say tomorrow is my birthday and so ice cream is a must. Yes, okay, fine, we can do ice cream tomorrow. I feel like maybe we can do ice cream, yes, that's fine. I think ice cream is a perfectly satisfactory way to have a birthday. You've got to have ice cream on your birthday, I suppose, or a cake. One of the two, I don't know. I think Ali said she's making a cake. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask her. Now, actually, I forgot completely yesterday. I was talking about the full moon this morning and how everything went a little bit pear-shaped, and that we couldn't show you the full moon because, well, it only rose about 3 minutes after we wrapped the show, and it actually took a while longer than that. We only saw it once we got back onto quarantine, so it was about 10 minutes later. But Ali wanted me to tell all of you that it is called the beaver moon. Apparently she does this every full moon where she tells you about what moon it is, and so she said to me that it is the beaver moon, and the reason it is called the beaver moon is because it signified the last day of beaver hunting season apparently in North America, and that's why this moon in November is known as the beaver moon. So there we go, there's a fun fact for the morning, courtesy of our Venezuelan friend. Well, friend to some, girlfriend to others. Well, me in particular. But she's, I think, going to be busy with cake baking, and that's how we got onto that conversation. Right, new road. Not very much going on here either. It seems as though it's all quite quiet. I haven't even seen any squirrels today, which gives to show just how quiet it's been. Birds have even not really been chirping. Don't know, maybe they've all decided that because it's birthday week that it's time to have a bit of a party and go on holiday. And it's also Sunday morning. That's very true, Louise, and so nothing like a little easy Sunday morning. Everybody's having a little sleep in, taking it very, very chilled this morning. So hopefully that will change though by this afternoon. I don't mind easy Sunday mornings, but afternoons must be busy. So it's time to get out in the afternoon and go to the park, so to speak. And so hopefully animals will be out and about and moving around. I did hear that there was a herd of elephants on Nkoro, which is a nice surprise. Hopefully they'll make their way towards Chitwa for the afternoon, maybe be playing around the dam. That's at least what I'm hoping anyway. I wonder where we can find something. It's starting to get quite warm now, so I'm going to be surprised if the hyena den is going to be active. I would imagine that hyena den will probably, in all likelihood, the little ones will still be inside, and if it wasn't active early this morning, I doubt it's going to be active now, but we are going to risk it and we're going to try it. Talking about a squirrel, there's a squirrel right now. Hello, little squirrel. You can see it just sitting right on the branch next to us, or was sitting on the branch. It's now bounding away. Off it goes. It's a fairly relaxed squirrel though. I thought it would run a lot faster than it did. I do like how they bound along. They leave such cool tracks when they bound, because they actually will leave these kind of like 4 little dots that go along and kind of bound is the word, I suppose. You can't really use another pounce. Would pounce work for it? Not really, no. I don't think so. Michelle, unfortunately not. No cute little meerkats for us here in the Sabi Sands. They are restricted more towards the arid parts of South Africa, so the drier areas. Find them a lot in the western half of South Africa, and I think they occur in some parts of the northwest as well. So They are around us, but not in this area. This area we have mongoose instead. So we have the dwarf mongoose and the banded mongoose, which have a similar lifestyle to the meerkats. They just don't stand as nicely as the meerkats do on their back legs and look around. They do it sometimes, but it's not for as long, and it's not as common to see in our mongoose families. But we do get mongoose and they are very similar in sort of the way that they move around and what they get up to. It's much like what the meerkats do. But meerkats are obviously quite famous these days because of that. It was an insurance ads. I think it was insurance ads that were done for meerkats, and then there was also Meerkat Manor, which was a documentary about the meerkats, I think in the Kalahari deserts, and so they've become fairly popular these days. Oopsie, that didn't sound very good. I might have to go and trim that branch at some point. That is a little low for our aerial, so we might have to go and sort that one out at some point. Now, this road is very good to keep Senzo awake on the back there. Senzo, how's the bumps on the back there? You're awake now. Excellent. Very good. It's a rather bumpy road, this, and so you tend to bump along and kind of head sways all over the place. Now, Guadalupe, you're asking if I ever get car sick out here. Well, if you drive this road often enough, I would imagine you might. It is very bumpy, but no, I luckily don't really suffer from car sickness. I haven't had it before and don't think I would want it either, but I don't, like I say, I've never had it, so I'm not one of those that is prone to motion sickness or car sickness, and I don't know of anybody else that has. I think Eggsy might have once had a little incident on the vehicle where he got a bit car sick, but I don't think anybody else has had it. I'm not sure. Louise, has anybody had car sickness while you've been directing? I don't think so. I think it's been a situation where everybody's actually pretty alright. The thing is, we stop a lot and we don't drive very fast, and we're not reading very much, and we're not kind of doing anything while we're driving, and so we tend to actually be okay. But I believe now, according to the final control, the peanut gallery in the back, that Megan and Jerry both suffer from car sickness. Not that I've seen them ever shy away from jumping in a vehicle for a game drive. What have you seen, Senz? Oh, well done, Senzo. Hopefully they're not going to run away. It's not something that is extremely sort of rare, but they are generally quite flighty, and it's nice to see both male and female together. So it's all about love is in the air, and females decided no, she's going to go. Male's not going to let her get out of his sight, and off they go into the distance. Typical little Steenbok that run away. Right, so we're going to carry on towards Aineden, see if it's active, see what's going on there, try and find some semblance of activity, but it seems as though somebody who really hasn't struggled at all this morning and has found animals everywhere and tripped over them at will is that of Taylor Mack, and she's now has apparently a big male lion.
Right, we're in the triangle now. We just got back. We're not going to stay here for very long. We found two big male lions, one behind us. Is this not boxer nose? Because he's got an interesting shaped nose. It looks like he's got an injury of sorts, but maybe you can help me out. The other male is lying flat in the non-off-roading section, so we've just very, very quickly popped across up here to have a closer look, but we're not going to be staying too long. We are going to head back towards home. We are so far away. Things that need to be done today, but a beautiful fella nonetheless, covered in flies, definitely an adult. He's got a lovely mane, not a particularly dark mane though, and we have been seeing lots and lots of dark mane lions in the triangle and in the reserve. This is actually the first sort of blonde mane lion I have seen, so I wonder who they are. I've never seen these boys before. This is the first time for me. I think when we were talking about boxer nose, I would assume that this was what he would look like. Let's see. Just waiting for confirmation. No. Louisa. Only got about 2 words out of that entire question. That it was from Michael, and then I got Sabi Sand. So this is a very bad comm spot though. It's known not to be great. It's just this area. There's not much we can really do about it. Yeah. I think I heard it no, I'm apologize if this is not what you asked, but I can't really hear what Louise is saying. Something about, are the male coalitions bigger here than they are in the Sabi sand? I haven't actually seen many coalitions of males down here up here in the Mara, should I say. The most common, I mean, I've seen the triangle boys. I have then seen Notch 2 on his own. I have seen these 2 males now. I'm trying to think who else I've actually seen. Then I saw another 2 males near Sala that were fully grown, the new ones that kicked this old Sand River males out. And that's pretty much it, actually. Those are all the big male lions that I've seen. So just from that, I would say it's pretty much the same. I haven't noticed any exceptionally large. Obviously, there's the Bilashaka males, which I haven't seen up in the Musiara Marsh. That's exceptional. But then again, the Mapojos, there were also 6 of them. So I'm going to say that it's about the same. Between 2 and 4 males seems to be the common size. Other than that, there's not much difference at all. But we're going to keep heading on home. This boy seems to be fast asleep. Like, again, I'm not sure which male lion this is. I'll have a look and I'll scroll through Twitter a bit later. I'm going to send you to Scott, though. He's got not a lion, but a rather grey, large giant.
Yes, we've semi-completed Dave's wish to find a large bull elephant. I think we would be claiming if we had said these were large. I mean, of course, they are big, but as far as bull elephants go, they are nothing to write home about. What we were hoping was going to happen was that they were going to shake the balanites trees that they were walking past to try and dislodge some fruits. One did do it to one of them while we were still a distance off, but it seems like they've had enough of that fruit and now are looking for other snacks. Well, I think I've lost count of how many different prides of lion Taylor found this morning. I think she's on her 4th different set of lions, so she's had an incredibly successful. I've heard Tristan hasn't been having an easy time on Djuma, where it's a little bit slow this morning. Very good. Now, I was trying or hoping to try and race up onto the top of the escarpment to try and show you 2 different birds. One is a cinnamon-breasted bee-eater, which is essentially very similar to a little bee-eater, just larger, but they look very similar. And thereafter, there's a small little pond behind camp where I saw a malachite kingfisher the other day whilst I was skipping. They're such cool little birds, the malachite kingfishers. I think you had a wonderful sighting of some pygmy kingfishers with Tristan yesterday. So that is the plan for us for the last few minutes of the safari. I'm going to have to drive fairly quickly in order to make sure we have enough time to do all these things. So buckle up. We're going to squiggle our way all the way up that hill. There are a few points we lose signal, which is sad because there's some beautiful areas that we'd love to show you, but it's a very deep valley where the signal just does not get to. I've been searching for another bird that I would really love to show you, a Narina trogon. I don't think we've ever, I highly doubt we would have ever showed you a Narina trogon, either here or in Djuma. Well, you guys I know is that Tristan is showing off his legs.
I'm just stretching out and making sure that I'm relaxed. I feel like if all the animals can have a Sunday morning lion, I might as well start doing the same thing and enjoying a little Sunday morning. Hang on a second before we do anything further. Now, Sunday morning lions are important, but when there is tracks for something that I just want to double check. I think it's a hyena track, but I just want to double check No, that's a big male leopard track that's been walking here. Now this male leopard track is fairly fresh. I'm going to try to get out of the way because it's just walking along this section here. So I'm going to try to see if Sens can get it. There it is there. So that's the track that we're looking at. Now this is a large male leopard track. So who would have walked here, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Tingana or Mvula maybe, but worth following. They look like they're fairly good. They're on top of some of the hyena tracks, I think. I need to just go and check up the road a little bit, but that's nice to see. And those are not tracks that I've seen yet, and they came from the south, so they've just crossed straight over here. Interesting. Okay, well, let's follow these and see where these go. They're, like I say, are going up this road, so I'm going to try and just check. Maybe Mvula is around somewhere here. You never know. They hopefully will be visible somewhere. They don't look great. They look like from early last night, but let's just double check and see. Maybe we can get lucky with a little leopard. So sun tanning is over, cats are out. It's now time to work a little bit and to focus on what I'm doing. Seems as though they're still walking straight up the road. I wonder, I'm just trying to think where this leopard could go from here. Maybe up into Buffelshoek, unfortunately, but let's just try and have a look. It's going somewhat close to the hyena den, and so maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to find this individual. I don't see the tracks anymore. Just scan around as we go. Maybe we'll get, like I say, we'll pick up some sort of sign somewhere here. Looks like they're still going up this direction. No, nothing on that termite mound. Here, kitty, come on. It'd be nice if it was just sitting in the road, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that just make our day? Now, I believe that Scotty D is on a serious birding mission, and if he gets an arena trogon and cinnamon-breasted bee-eaters, I don't know if Scotty and I can talk to one another again after that. Trogons are some of my favorite birds, and they are so difficult to find here in the Sabi Sands. We do see them, but they are really tough. Down at Lion Sands is where I've seen all of the trogons that I've ever seen, and so if he finds them on camera, I'm going to be happy for him, but also sad at the same time, because I would want to be able to see those birds. They are both beautiful things, and so I wish him luck on that. Hopefully we'll find our last minute leopard, he'll find his arena trogon, and then, well, then we'll call it even Stevens, and it can be a birthday gift for him that I accept the fact that he has found an arena trogon. Now, I just saw something dangling from a tree there, but it's just a Tads? No, I don't think it's Anderson male, to be honest. Obviously it's a hopeful thing that he would come this way, but I don't think so. It's not, the track doesn't look big enough for Anderson's track, to be honest. So no, I don't think it's him. He might be around here somewhere and spending time on Arethusa, but from what I've heard is he's been kept very busy by a number of females in Londolozi and Ottawa and even Moya and Tiani, and so he's spending most of his time right down in that southwestern part of this northern block, and so very little sign of him in this area. I certainly haven't seen anything for him in a long time, or heard many reports of him in the last few weeks. So this could be one of three leopards. It could be Djuma, it could be Mvula, and it could be Tingana. Those three. So Djuma apparently has been spending a lot of time on I forget the name now, Arethusa, and they've been seeing him, so maybe it's him coming back from Arethusa side. Mvula, we know, walks around this area, and Tingana as well, so it could be one of those three that's walked here. I doubt it's Anderson though. I would be very surprised if Anderson walked here, and like I say, the size of that track just doesn't look like a track for a big male leopard of Anderson's size. But I lost his tracks quite a while ago. I think he's cut off, and maybe he's gone off towards Gallagher's shortcut. I just want to quickly check the hyena den while we're here, and then if there's nothing going on, we'll carry on with those tracks and just try and find them and see if maybe we get lucky with these male leopard tracks. I know Mvula was seen here recently, very close to the hyena den, so maybe he's hanging around and lurking in this area once again, and we get lucky. I'll just have to scratch him and see. At least it's some sort of sign. It's better than nothing, and it's at least an indication that there is a leopard that is walked around. But like I say, it looks like early evening, so the chances of him being very close is probably quite tough, but we'll try anyway. hyena den looks very inactive at this stage. We're just going to check around this little corner. Let's have a look. No hyenas there, no hyenas there. No, 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 no. I don't see any. Nope. So everything is all quiet at the den. We've got no sign of any hyenas, which means obviously that it's time to leave the den. We don't stay at the dens if there's no sign of the adults. It's obviously to just keep the little ones safe. So no den activity, unfortunately. Okay, well that means we can at least try and look around for this male leopard track and see if there is any sign of it. So obviously got to just negotiate a reversing area. There we go. I'm surprised there's not more bones though. I thought maybe we'd see a few more bones lying around. There's one or two, but nothing too serious. I was hoping to find lots more over the last few weeks in this area. Philip, you want to know what would be my white whale in terms of sightings. So sightings I've always wanted but never had. I think at the moment probably here in the Sabi Sands would be a caracal, just because I haven't seen one. So it's pretty much the only big mammal that occurs in the Sabi Sands that I haven't seen, and so it's just kind of one that's been nagging on the list, and is really kind of a lot of friends that I've had have seen them, and pretty much most of the guides in the Sabi Sands have had a glimpse at some point, except for me. So it's like a little bogey animal, and I suppose that it's the white whale at the moment, and the elephant in the room. So hopefully at some point I'll get to see a caracal. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've been spoilt, and I've seen some incredible things in my life. I've been fortunate to have witnessed a lot of different stuff that is incredibly rare. I've seen most of the rare animals that we get here. I've been able to see births. I've been able to find den sites. I've seen fighting between animals. I think probably one of the other big things that I've always wanted to witness, but in a way I don't want to, is male lions having a serious fight. So really not just growling and clawing at each other and roaring, but to actually come to blows to the point where they are seriously going at each other, because I think that just the sheer sound and power of those guys must just be unbelievable to witness. Or even big fighting bull elephants. I have seen bull elephants fighting, but it really kind of was not major and was fairly sort of static and not too crazy. So I would say maybe that would be my sort of next thing that I would like to see. I don't know. Caracal is the one animal that I haven't seen that I would love to see. So that's kind of, I would suppose, the big white whale. But otherwise, I've been fortunate in that I've seen so many nice things out here and been so spoiled by the bush that there's not really too many other things from the Sabi Sands itself that I really kind of wish that I would see here. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of other areas that I would love to go and see things, but here in the Sabi Sands, it would be a caracal would be what I would want. Always good just to check on Buffelshoek boundary when you come out onto it, just to see if anything is around. Sherry, no, I haven't ever had the civet coffee, and that's because I just don't drink coffee at all. So don't drink coffee any day of the week at all. So I haven't had it. I don't know if anybody has had it in the crew. I must maybe ask some of the others if they've drank it, but I certainly haven't. Maybe somebody out there has drank it and you can let us know what it tastes like. #SafariLive if you have had civet coffee and what it tastes like. I would imagine it must be fairly coffee-ish. I don't know. Maybe it tastes better than others. It's supposed to taste better. It's supposed to be very expensive and very nice, but I'm not sure I'm a huge fan. Now I want to go down Gallagher's shortcut just to check if this leopard didn't come out on this side. I have a funny feeling that it went the other way towards Sydney's Dam, but I don't have signal there, and with Scott going up the escarpment, I'm not sure if his signal is going to survive as well, so I'd rather just stay in the safe zones for now. So you know what, actually, let's quickly just check. I know I said I was going to look for this leopard, and I will, but I want to just quickly double check for this little impala lamb that we saw yesterday, the first impala lamb, and see if it managed to survive the night and nobody was around. If there's a male leopard around, it's never the good thing if there's little impala lambs. And the last time I saw it was here, just running along the road down with its mother, and so I wonder if it's maybe just still hanging around the fire break. A fire break would be a great place for a little impala lamb. They can obviously see predators coming a lot further away and then be able to get out of that area. So I just want to double check it's not still viewable in this area, or if maybe it's decided to move on and mom has taken it a little bit further away. It does happen as well. But soon we are going to see a number of those impala lambs, unfortunately, dangling from trees. It's a firm favorite of the leopards. They love these impala lambs, and this time of the year where they can hunt them extensively, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to happen fairly shortly. And it's amazing, you'll see one impala lamb like this and you'll think, well, there's only one, it's a little early, and then all of a sudden it's just, you'll just see them everywhere. It's once the first one is seen, it typically you find them all over the place in the next few days, and fairly common from there. So I wonder if we'll find it here somewhere. It's been a tough morning though in terms of birds. Even I've been looking around for birds. I mean, I've seen the odd one here and there. There's been the odd kind of bird flittering about and crossing our paths, but it's been tough from that point of view as well, which is strange. It's not bad weather for birds, and it's not like it's raining or very windy or even potentially very cold. It's actually fairly good weather, and so I'm surprised that we haven't seen too many more kind of calling and around. It seems as though it's the right kind of weather for it. Hello, little steenbok. Another little male steenbok. This is one thing we have seen this morning, is a few of these guys. Heather, you're asking what is the largest insect in the bush that we see here in the Sabi Sands area. Now, it depends on what we consider the largest. Do we consider the largest to be the longest, or do we consider it to be the heaviest, or a combination of both? Because there's a lot of insects out here that are incredibly long, but that are not very heavy and not very bulky. So if you take something like the stick insects, those giant stick insects, you can get ones that are almost the length of my forearm, which would be by far the longest insect that we get out of here. In terms of the biggest and the heaviest, I would say probably the really large dung beetles or rhino beetles would be your heaviest ones that we have out here. I might be missing something though. What else would be a heavy insect? But those are typically the really big ones. There's also the sort of big ground beetles as well that we get. There are various crickets and the locusts that are also quite large. But yeah, it depends on how we kind of perceive largeness. Like I say, is it length or is it general sort of size? Is it a combination of length and weight, or is it weight, or how do we kind of take it in? But I mean, the longest insects by far are those giant stick insects. They're massive. Like I say, they will be the length of this. I've seen ones that are the length of my forearm, which is absolutely insane. In fact, I've got a photo of one somewhere. I'll try and find it quickly. I've got it here. I remember taking it a while ago. I just need to find it now. Let's see, it should be here. Sorry, I've got to just quickly get through a whole bunch of photos to be able to find it. But I remember, I'm just trying to think what time of the year it was. It was a summer month, so it will be somewhere in this general vicinity. There it is. So, I mean, this is, not the biggest I've ever found. It is one of, but not the biggest. But it's a bit blurrier, and so I do apologize. I just took it with my phone quickly. That is my hand over there, and that is the insect that goes all the way from there up, and then its antenna carry on, and then its legs come off. But that thing is absolutely massive. There is huge, and it is a very long insect. So that is probably the biggest of the insect species that we see in this area in terms of overall length and just general size appearance. It just doesn't weigh very much, that's all. Right, thank you, little steenbok. That was nice of you. Alana, you say the giant millipedes, also I suppose fairly long, but don't weigh very much either, and not the longest. Definitely don't exceed the length of those stick insects. So they would fall just in the sort of, I'd say, medium to large category in terms of insects out here. I suppose large insect would be better. Extremely large would be like that stick insect. Some of the moths are massive as well. They've got huge wingspans on them, so it's difficult. I mean, insects are all different kind of shapes and forms, and there are different families within the insects, and so it's tough to say who's the largest unless we give it a sort of scale. I mean, generally in animals, the largest are always weight and size. I mean, elephant is tall, it is big, it is heavy, so we refer to that as large. Whereas in the insect world, it's a little different. They're all designed for different things, and so you get large kind of beetles, but then you get large sort of moths, but those will all be different shapes and therefore different weights and all kinds of other things. Also, insects generally are not heavy because most of them fly, and so you can't be incredibly heavy if you're a flying animal. Right, well, I'm going to just check around again for these leopard tracks, see if they come out this side, and while I do that, let's go back to Scotty D, who hopefully is up on the escarpment now and hopefully has some sort of sign of all of those birds he was looking for.
We've stopped in an area where a lot of you would not have actually seen. Oh, there they go, back in. Awesome. A paradise flycatcher. Cool. And I was hoping to show you some cinnamon-breasted. Oh, what a... For it is. Look at how cool that is. It's the first time I've ever seen one. Woohoo! And it's definitely going to be the first time a lot of you have seen one as well. It is the most beautiful baby blue coloration. It's still there. Go back to where you had it earlier, Davy. Oh, it flew off to the right, to the right of the tree. I think it might actually be just behind the tree, actually. Let me roll back a bit. Yeah, it's directly behind the tree. There's a horizontal branch, the thickest horizontal branch. It's sitting on it. Down a bit. There it is. You got it there. Well done. Beautiful. I can't believe how cool this is. This is such an incredible bird to see. And I was worried I wasn't going to see one. Angama Lodge, where a lot of our crew had to spend time while our camp was being built, but the nest was abandoned by the time I arrived. And the fact that we saw the paradise flycatcher, and I think it's called the African blue paradise flycatcher. I'm not even sure of its exact name, so let me get it in the book quickly. Okay. Where are you hiding? The African flycatcher, the one on the top there. And was this one over here, the African paradise flycatcher. Interestingly, unlike the ones in South Africa, the ones up here have got little white wing bars, and you actually get quite a few different subspecies of the paradise flycatchers. You get some white morphs and some blue morphs. Looking for cinnamon breast.
So we unfortunately have lost Scotty on his birthday just as the show wrapped. Oh well, he'll be back out and about this afternoon, and we'll still be around. So unfortunately though, it is all we have time for this morning. It seems as though it's been a wonderful morning from the Masai Mara. We've had a little bit of a quiet time, but a fun time nonetheless, and certainly have enjoyed ourselves as we've negotiated the bush this morning. It has really been pleasant weather and always very, very fun. Now I do hope that Scott has an amazing day further, and that the rest of his day is filled with happiness. And so from Taylor, Scott, myself, Insenzo, all the cam-ups and Lou, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you this afternoon on the Sunset Safari.